On Zhukov's orders, 143 searchlights had been brought to the front. They were switched on to illuminate the ground for the attacking Soviet troops. But the plan went disastrously wrong.
They switched on the searchlights 300 to 400 yards behind our line. But such a thick cloud of dust and smoke had risen into the air over the German positions that the beams just couldn't penetrate it.
Reflected off the wall of smoke, the searchlight beams blinded the Red Army soldiers. Silhouetted against the light, they were sitting ducks for the German gunners above them.
In front of us there were minefields. The enemy fire was murderously heavy and really accurate. The Germans had prepared their defenses very carefully. It is not surprising they managed to hold us off.
Between the Western powers and the Russians would inevitably collapse. On April the 14th, the day after Hitler's ecstatic pronouncement, Russian artillery on the Oder front began to pound German positions around the bridgeheads. Although the sudden Russian onslaught took the Germans completely by surprise, it soon became apparent that this was not the start of the main offensive. It was a reconnaissance in force, mounted by battalion-sized units of infantry and tanks, the prelude to most Soviet offensives. For the German commander of Army Group Vistula, General Heinrici, the question now was exactly when the real blow would fall. If he could guess the Soviet timetable correctly, he might save the bulk of his force on the Oder from instant annihilation.
And exhausted to extremity, could no longer withstand the pressure of the Russian assault. Weitling's corps was outflanked on both sides. That evening, Zhukov entrusted General Semen Bogdanov with a historic mission: to lead his 2nd Guards Tank Army into Berlin and to become the first Soviet troops to enter the enemy capital. The next day, Krivoshein's 1st Mechanized Corps, part of the 2nd Guards Tank Army, reached the Berlin suburb of Weissensee and fulfilled the mission. For this, Krivoshein received his nation's highest award, the title Hero of the Soviet Union. The main force of the 1st Belarusian front was now sweeping around Weitling's shattered corps and arriving en masse at the outskirts of Berlin.
When dawn broke, the German line was still holding.
The enemy was putting up fierce resistance, shelling and bombarding us with all kinds of weapons, small arms, artillery and mortars. And they were even dropping bombs from aircraft.
Zhukov's offensive was going nowhere. But 55 miles south, the 2nd phase of Operation Berlin was launched.
Konyev's dream of conquering Berlin had been thwarted. Forests and lakes, minefields and pillboxes had slowed his advance. There was hard fighting around Zossen, from where the Wehrmacht High Command had recently fled. But his advance had trapped 20,000 men of the German 9th and 4th Panzer Army in the forests south of Berlin. These men could no longer reach the city to help in its defense. Hitler faced a dilemma: stay in the capital or flee to his Alpine fortress. He pinned his hopes on the army detachment of SS General Felix Steiner. Hitler telegraphed the general: The primary task before Army Detachment Steiner is to attack from the north. The fate of the capital of the Third Reich depends on how successfully you execute this mission. It was an impossible order that could not be carried out.